So today we're playing with motion controls. I'm gonna show you guys what I've been doing these past few weeks. So I'm gonna start with Commando, which is one of the first survivors who have actual models and animations. Right now I haven't done skins yet. I'm gonna do that eventually, but I just thought it wasn't that important for now. I'm gonna stay on Rainstorm because to be honest, playing in VR is pretty hard. I'm just gonna get hammered in Monsoon. There we go. There are my guns. Alright, no trouble at all. It feels really fun to aim with this. You can even aim at two different enemies if you want. Like this. And they're about that. I'm playing on a 2060 Super, and the performance is good right now. I think I'm at a constant 90 FPS. Sometimes I do drop, but nothing too unbearable. So TP's here. I can ping it with my dominant hand. If you are a lefty, you can change the dominant hand in the mod settings. So like your primary skill and special is gonna be on that hand instead. Will there be smooth turning? There is smooth turning already. I just prefer the snap turn. It's more comfortable for me. Although I might understand if it's less pleasant for you guys who are watching the stream. So if you guys want to try this early, oh what? I wonder what does. Oh yeah, right. It's my shield generator. It's adding this. I only added these effects recently, so that's why I was surprised. Looks kind of cool. Kinda. Would other effects get shown? Yeah, when I tested like when you get frozen and when you become invisible. Let's say for example you're Bandit and you're doing your stealth ability. You're gonna see like the ghost effect. Okay, this is gonna end early. What? So yeah, that's why I'm saying that VR is hard. I'm already almost dead. You cannot see behind you at all. Oh, yeah, well, see, I'm already dead. Does stuff like tonic makes your vision blue? I think so. I haven't tested. I think it should. But the muzzle flash is a bit much in VR. They seem to take up a lot of screen. That is true. I did try to reduce them, but I really couldn't. Huntress has some pretty cool animations. Pretty proud of them. Alright, let's do Huntress now. How much money to get you to make Paladin work? I did start working on making a better friendly system so you can add motion control support for your character. So as you can see with Huntress, I just have a free hand and a big ass bow. When I shoot like this, you can see the rope pulling back. And when you come out of the sky, you can see a bunch of arrows appearing, like in the original model. Eventually I'll make it so that you can see the actual arrows disappearing, like for each bullet that you shoot. It's gonna be pretty cool. The only thing I haven't worked on too much is the glaive when you throw it with this hand. It just kind of appears. I might do an animation for that later. I haven't done like both hands like pulling the actual rope. I'm just pressing the trigger here. Maybe eventually I'll do a two-handed thing. So you see the dash, I'm aiming with the other hand. I made it so like for all abilities that you press with a button in this hand, it's gonna be aimed with this hand too. The only thing that doesn't work that well with this is when you play loader, you gotta use the grapple and the punch with the same hand, like trigger and grip. So usually it would feel better to do it with the other hand, the punch, but then I would have to mess with mappings and stuff. Now you might be wondering if it makes you sick. That really depends on you. I'm someone who doesn't get sick often playing VR games. so it feels fine for me. The first time I did play, I did get a bit of a headache after a few stages. Personally, I like to play with friends with motion controls if it's possible. You can still play with friends if they don't have the VR mode. They would just need a modded client too. Like they could just download BepInEx and R2 API, for example. As long as their client is modded, you will be able to play with them with motion controls. So okay, let's go with Bandit. Alright, so this is Bandit. The rifle is only one-handed for now. Eventually, you'll be able to hold it with two hands and aim it like this. So yeah, when you do get invisible like this, like see the models become ghosts. Once I'm done with all the animations and models, I'm gonna do one last Patreon release for maybe a couple days, and then I'll release it to the public if there's no problems. Now I'm frozen. You can see the effect. So see how fast you got motion controls working? Yeah, fast is one term. It took a very long time compared to any other thing. Who's your favorite character so far to play in VR? Loader is just so fun to swing around like Spider-Man. I know it might make people sick playing with Loader, but I just love it so much. Once we get to Loader, you guys will see why. Also, you might have noticed when I sprint, you see the little sprint icon at the bottom? It turns yellow. Because if you move the crosshair, you don't have any other visual cue to show you're sprinting. So I did that little thing that turns the icon yellow. Choosing the items over here, like when you interact with stuff, you aim with your hand. Before it was with your head. Also, these little glyphs you see like for control and stuff, well, you guys cannot see the ones that appear under the abilities, unfortunately, because of the field of view. But you know, when I pointed something, these little glyphs that appear for controls, I also did that. I tried to replicate the style that was used for the previous glyphs. So yeah, equipments, by the way, since the button to activate it is on the non-dominant hand, you gotta aim it with your non-dominant hand too. Oh, you see that effect up here? That's the brainstalk. So that's one problem I haven't fixed yet, which are like effects that normally appear on the character. They sometimes appear like on your face, and it's kind of blinding. God. Oh, no! Oh well. Alright, so it's time for MUL-T, which doesn't have any models and animations yet. But I'm going to show you the dual wield, because it's pretty fun to use both hands. So you see, these are just the default pointers. Any characters that don't have any models right now are going to use these. But I at least made the logic behind it, so, you know, being able to aim with your hand like this. And when you fire your grenade, it's the other hand, because you're pressing this trigger. Yeah, you'll see again, these muzzle flashes are huge. And let me show you. Ah! What happens if I try a custom character? If you do try, it's just gonna put these hands like this. The bullets, they actually are not gonna come out of the actual tip of these pointers, because they haven't set up the muzzles and stuff. So you're still gonna be aiming with your dominant hand mostly, so it's still some kind of support, but it's really not perfect. So yeah, I'll be working on that a mother-friendly way. We got engineer. Okay, what I did for engineer, your actual grenades don't come out of your hands, they actually come out of your shoulders. Otherwise that would just be weird. when you use this, because I hit the crosshair, you don't see the big square anymore. Like, see? The grenades don't come out of my hands. They just come from my shoulders. But when I throw mines, they do come out of my left hand. Then when I use this ability, the missile one, I can just aim and press and let go. And there he goes. Now you do have to press the grip button to activate the ability, and then your primary trigger to fire the missiles. That might be a bit confusing at first, but you get used to it. Also, one argument I can give about the motion sickness. I saw a streamer recently that played in VR, but without the motion controls, of course. They played for like 2 hours before they returned to desktop. So I guess this can give you an idea on if it makes you sick or not. But again, that depends on the person. Artificer. Artificer is surprisingly very fun to play in VR. I would have loved to be able to make the fire use both hands, since you see like 2 flamethrowers, but in the game logic itself, there's only one ray that does damage, so I couldn't split it into 2. This too might be an annoying muzzle flash. So as you can see, icicle with the left hand. Actually, let's do the ice wall here, and then do the flamethrower. This orb of fire is very big on your hand. Actually, it's tied to the flame coming out. Like you see the flame here and this big sphere, they're part of the same effect. So if I try to reduce this big sphere, it's going to reduce the flame too. Come on. Yeah, let's go. Oh. Spare me! No! Time to barf. It's mercenary time. Now, I know you wish I added the big sword, and that's gonna come later. As you can see, it's a bit boring for now. You just hold trigger to swing. I haven't done much work for melee characters, so it is pretty boring for now. But I promise I'll work on something, like maybe actually swing your arms around. But then I gotta deal with the attack speed. Let's say your attack speed is at the minimum right now, like this. But what if you swing faster than that? And that's not gonna work. And then there's also the fact that if you have an insanely high attack speed and you cannot keep up with yourself, what do you do then? So what I thought I would do is just that when you swing your controller, it would simulate as if you were holding the trigger. So even though you were swinging that fast, if your attack speed is way faster than that, it would attack at the actual attack speed. Might not be the best solution, but it's just for now the only way to keep the balance while also making it as fun as possible. And then if you're too tired to swing yourself, you can still hold the trigger if you want. Rex. So Rex is pretty straightforward. You can just shoot like this. And then you can aim the mortar with this. And with this hand also you can push back. And then down in hand, you can aim the flower. Now you might think, what could I put for the hands? What models could I put? It's not very noticeable, but on the model there's actually a sort of needle gun. So that's gonna be your dominant hand. But then with the non-dominant, what I might do is put the flower but like smaller. So the fun thing about aiming with your hand is that you can just look in front and do the sonic boom behind you like this. You can do both at the same time too. Like this. Time to play Spider-Man. This is gonna be fun, guys. Alright, time to swing. Woo! Imagine getting sick in VR. Lol. I do also feel that having grapple and punch in the same hand is kinda bad. I could do an exception for loader to swap the special and utility. This is so cool. Oh, Acrid, okay. When you spit poison, it's not gonna come out of your hands. Otherwise it would make no sense at all. So it comes out of the mouth. But it's fun to throw yourself around like this. Come here, bitch. I just like to swing my arms around when I do this jump. What's been the biggest difficulty you've run into developing this mod? To be honest, just making the buttons work. Because making the movement and stuff was pretty easy. Like there are already some pre-made values I can easily retrieve. It took me 4 days just to make these buttons work without the movement and stuff. Alright, next up we got Captain. Yeah, you can actually see your drone going around you like this. It might be an obstruction. I think it's funny. Oh, I'm gonna move on to Heretic. I'm just gonna pick the default heresy items here. So whatever character you have, that's how the abilities are going to work. And the weird thing about this muzzle flash is it's not centered. That's how the effect is made, by the way. That's not my fault. And then of course secondary, just hold and release. Aim it with your offhand. When you're pressing your utility, you can actually see the effect here. I don't have anything set up for pointers working in the menus, and it seemed very hard to do. I might do it eventually, but it's gonna be hard to do. This is available on Patreon right now for those that want to try it. Once I get all the models and animation done, I'm gonna make a public release of it. I hope you enjoyed. So yeah, have a good night, guys.